relatively speaking, £3 million is not going to go a long way. Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and that you had a great week. To my house guests, come in, make yourselves at home, make yourselves comfortable. If you're visiting my channel for the first time and you'd like to become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I'm Chez, this is Chez M0i. Welcome to my place. House rules. Please do not watch this video if you have absolutely no interest in the subject matter, as indicated by the thumbnail. You struggle to simply accept other people's opinions when they don't necessarily align with yours. You're a professional point misser. You are not able to engage respectfully. Remember that there are countless other channels that cater specifically to your needs and preferences. Therefore, please feel free to exit this video and engage with their content instead. So today is the 31st of August 2023, exactly 26 years since Princess Diana passed away. She is not who I want to talk about today, however, she is relevant to the subject matter. Now, over the last few weeks, there's been much anticipation regarding the Invictus Games, which commences next Saturday, 9th of September in Düsseldorf, Germany. Admittedly, I've never expressed an interest in the games, and the only thing I knew about it was that it was founded by Prince Harry, inspired by the Warrior Games in the USA when he went to see that in 2013. Consequently, the first Invictus Games was launched the following year in London. However, because I'd seen so much on the internet, I decided to watch Harry's new Netflix documentary, Heart of Invictus, so I could kind of get a handle on what the games were about. So, as a quick overview, the documentary focuses on the months, weeks and days leading up to and including the games held in the Netherlands last year, which were meant to have taken place in 2020 but couldn't for obvious reasons. I ended up binge watching basically the whole series this afternoon because throughout various points I found myself tearing up. That actually shocked me. I wasn't expecting that.
This is the open category for competitors with psychological injuries or minor functional impairments.
And alongside their physical disabilities, these Invictus athletes will also have gone through trauma and maybe dealing with mental health issues. Some will struggle in front of crowds, so to be performing like this with thousands watching from the stands can be extremely challenging.
So basically that compelled me to watch all 5 episodes. Now, this is not a review on the series, but in my humble opinion, it was very well produced and gave me a deeper appreciation of how individuals across the globe are dealing with psychological and physical trauma. It was multi-layered and extremely moving.
Shy of that top 16 right now.
One more.
Only the top 16 will progress.
You gotta do better.
Out of 44, he gotta be in the top 16. He needs to get it together.
Now the turn of the man from Jacksonville. If he could just pick up an extra 2 or 3 points, might just find himself breaking into that top 16 for the elimination round.
If you can land those shots in the yellow.
Oh, God, come on, game. Bullseye, bullseye, bullseye. Come on.
I know those memories. They etched in my brain. Anytime I feel like I would like something or do something, my mom put me back. Nope, you can't do that. Nope, you can't do that. Or tell everybody I'm a problem child. I think that's affected me to my life to this day.
But he needs to get it together.
Come on, dude. Get it back.
Oh, good job, good job.
As usual, however, the British media picked out what they considered to be contradictions in relation to Harry's commentary. And here's one example. This excerpt is taken from the dailymail.co.uk, dated today, 31st of August 2023. As Harry and Meghan launch new documentary Heart of Invictus, it seems once again the Duke's litany of complaints aren't quite adding up. Claim: there was no support and no one could help when Harry was suffering post-traumatic stress. He said, "I didn't have that support structure, that network or that expert advice to identify what was actually going on with me." Reality: in 2017, Harry revealed in an interview how his brother had helped him following their mother's death. He told The Telegraph's Bryony Gordon in her podcast, Mad World, that Prince William had encouraged him to get therapy. Harry said, "For me personally, my brother, bless him, he was a huge support to me. He kept saying, 'This is not right. This is not normal. You need to talk to someone about stuff. It's okay.'" So I'm not really seeing any contradiction with regard to what Harry said in 2017 and what he said in this documentary. I've had an instance where, one of my siblings has been through something and I advised them to seek professional help. That's the extent of my support. That's the only way I can support them. So when Harry is saying that he didn't receive the support he needed at that time, obviously William, giving him that advice, that's William's way of supporting him. But what Harry needed at that time was professional help. And as you've heard before from both Harry and Meghan, the actual practical support to help them with, mental challenges has not been there. But again, it's the media trying to nitpick. They're doing their cross-referencing, trying to find ways to discredit Harry, rather than looking at the documentary as a whole and the actual purpose of it and what it's helped to achieve. They want to nitpick because they want to keep discrediting this man because he left the UK. It's not just far right individuals that have the view that Harry's a traitor. In my observation, people that can't stand Harry, they regard him as a traitor because he left. William is not medically trained in the area of mental health. So whilst I can see that Harry is appreciative of William's advice, it's not the support that he needed. And I understand that he is now in therapy. He freely admits that. Harry, that is. So it's immaterial, the press bringing up these types of claims. But as I've said in previous videos, it's not in their interest to look at the whole project, whether it's a documentary, whether it's charity work that Meghan and Harry do. They want to nitpick and bring up things that are, in the grand scheme of things, and relatively speaking, quite irrelevant. And speaking of William, he recently declared that he was going to tackle the homelessness crisis in the UK. This is an opinion piece by Zoe Williams, with theguardian.com on the 27th of June 2023. Prince William is going to solve homelessness with a new royal charity launching a project called Homewards that starts with £3 million for 6 towns and cities across the UK. It's such a short sentence to make so little sense. You can look at the housing crisis from a range of perspectives. Some people are obsessed with planning permission, some have a supply side fetish. You don't have to chalk it all up to the ever more feudal rentier economy. Nevertheless, we could agree, I think, that an initial drop of £500,000 into a city, even if it might put a roof over a handful of heads, would barely scratch the surface. Furthermore, whatever your view on equality, and again there's a spectrum, with some people thinking great concentrations of unearned wealth are good for motivation or whatnot, it would still, I think, strike you as piquant that a man with housing plenty beyond anything he could ever use would style himself as ambassador for the business of getting people off the streets. I have my observations regarding that. Having worked and still work in the financial services sector, relatively speaking, £3 million is not going to go a long way. I mean, £3 million is a lot of money, but when you're talking about tackling a crisis that's so overwhelming, how is £3 million going to make a dent across 6 towns and cities in the UK? I understand that as of November 2022, there are 76 cities. They didn't make the distinction between towns and cities. 76 cities across the UK. That is England, Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales. So what's going to happen to the other 70 then? After you've dealt with this 6, what's going to happen to the other 70? Which then begs the question, is this just a token gesture for you, William, to be seen to be doing something, or is it going to be phased over a number of years? Is it going to be sustainable? Is it going to be consistent? Because I don't know about you, but I've not heard anything since June with regard to this housing crisis solution. If you have information, please feel free to let me know, because as I say, you guys, I defer to your greater knowledge because you know a lot more than I do. Now, going back to Harry, who spent 10 years in military service, undertaking 2 tours in Afghanistan. He's spoken extensively about his PTSD triggered by his mother's passing and, consequently, has been able to relate to people from different backgrounds through the Invictus Games.
So how many did you used to have?
Hundreds.
Hundreds?
Hundreds.
On each shoulder?
Yeah.
What do you think you're down to now?
Maybe 100. It's like shaking a pop bottle and turning the lid. And it's a mess. I don't want that to happen. I'm glad that you have been through this stuff. And know how we feel.
I can't pretend to know what you've been through. But the reason why I was smiling when you talked about it's because I had that. I had that moment in my life where I didn't know about it, but because of the trauma of losing my mum when I was 12, for all those years, I had no emotion. I was unable to cry. I was unable to feel. I didn't know it at the time. Right. And it wasn't until later on in my life, at age 28, there was a circumstance that happened that the first few bubbles started coming out, and then suddenly it was like someone shook it, and went poof, and then it was chaos. My emotions were sprayed all over the wall, everywhere I went, and I was like, how the hell do I contain this? I've gone from nothing to everything, and I now need to find myself, get a glass jar and put myself in it, leave the lid open, and my therapist said, you choose what comes in, and everything else bounces off.
Okay, that's good advice.
I'm just so happy that you're here. I'm so happy for you that you managed to pull off your heat. Yeah. And now you got to prep for this afternoon. You know what you need to do, right?
Now, as we know, Harry founded the Games well before Meghan came into his life, but this documentary, although she made very few appearances, showed how strong their union is and how well respected they are as a couple, and how much she is 100% behind her husband, despite the media doubling down on their efforts to brainwash everyone to the contrary.
Good evening, everyone. We are so grateful to the Netherlands for welcoming us and for hosting the Invictus Games. For each team, my husband and I both recognize it's been a lot to get here, both physically and emotionally, not least of which for the Ukraine team, whom we are all standing with. Oksana team, we talked about it yesterday. Slava Ukraini. One thing I know for sure is that every single moment it has taken to get here will be worth it. Because it is here at the Invictus Games that we honor your years of active duty on the field and your continued service to your country, to your family, and to your community off the field. Thank you so much for your service, and thank you to all the family and the friends that are here who have been supporting you along the way. Because this is service, this is dedication, and this is the Invictus family. Now, it is my distinguished honor to introduce someone that I think you'll all be very excited to hear from. He has also spent many late nights and early mornings planning for these games to make them as perfect as possible for each of you. I could not love and respect him more, and I know that all of you feel the same because he is your fellow veteran, having served 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan and 10 years of military service. He's the founder of the Invictus Games and the father to our 2 little ones, Archie and Lily. Please welcome my incredible husband, Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex.
Thank you, my love. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Hague. Finally. God, I've missed you all. And I tell you what, and people around the world have missed this. So tonight, I trust that you all see what I see. The heart of the warrior beating strongly. Because to be role models, or the role models that each of you are, takes strength and it takes courage. When I talk to my son, Archie, about what he wants to be when he grows up, some days it's an astronaut, other days it's a pilot. A helicopter pilot, obviously. Or Quasi from Octonauts. If you're laughing, then you've seen it. But what I remind him is that no matter what you want to be when you grow up, it's your character that matters most. And nothing would make his mum and me prouder than to see him have the character of what we see before us today. You. You, as a community, have overcome immense challenges, and together you are healing and teaching the world as you go. And you as individuals are people of substance, of resilience, of strength, and of heart. You have the heart of Invictus. And your collective stories will be woven into the history books, and for that, we thank you. We thank you for cementing in us the unwavering knowing that with courage, you can overcome anything. So, Invictus, are you ready? No. Invictus, are you ready? That's better. So, bring on the games. Most importantly, have fun. Thank you for being here.
You can kind of see that the subtext never really changes over the years, though, does it?
But I think Diana told me, which is very shortly before she died, that it wasn't Camilla that destroyed our marriage. I thought, I don't believe you're saying this, Diana. Why? I mean, she said, no, it wasn't Camilla. It was the people around us.
Outside influences recently speculated whether Meghan would be accompanying her husband in September as we approach the first anniversary of Queen Elizabeth's passing. Because Meghan apparently won't be coming to the UK, that is supposedly a sure sign that their marriage is in trouble. For those of you who are not familiar with her, this is Angela Rippon. She was a very well-known and well-respected newsreader when I was a child. And she was kind of a neutral character for me. I didn't even know she had any, albeit loose associations with the royal family. At one point there was speculation that she had had an affair with Princess Anne's ex-husband, Captain Mark Phillips. However, regardless of that, my opinion of her really changed when she said this prior to King Charles's coronation.
That will be the picture. Neither Meghan nor Harry will be there because we know now that Harry is coming to the coronation, but he's coming on his own. I have to tell you, when the news was announced, you could almost hear the sigh of relief that went across the country that Meghan was not coming.
So this is where I'm confused as to why there's always speculation whether Meghan will accompany Harry when he visits the UK. Common sense dictates that you're not going to show up where you're not wanted or where you're not welcome. So unless Harry explicitly makes a request to her, there's no need for Meghan to come here. We do know, however, that she will be with her husband in Dusseldorf for the Invictus Games, an event that is vitally important to and has changed the lives of so many injured veterans.
So you can't do the physical challenge unless you're mentally able to do it. Exactly. We've got the whole thing back to front.
From what I've understood over the years, mostly for these guys and girls,
do I get one of those? There you go.
it really is the focus of the mind on an intention and a goal to keep the mind busy, to keep the mind ticking over and stretching the muscles, as opposed to sitting there and worrying about what's happened in the past. That for me is the biggest piece to it.
I think it's fair to say that the Games have also been an opportunity for Harry to reevaluate his position and find his purpose in life through being able to relate to thousands of individuals on a basic human level. Let's just accept the fact that the British media will continue to write Harry off because, as I say, they see him as a traitor. However, for me, the Invictus Games is a clear demonstration of how one man's actions speak much more loudly than his words. If your thoughts were provoked in any way, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. So guys, I want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and you shall catch me in the next video.